Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and this term I'm super excited because we're going to do something kind of crazy. A little crazy, a little bit crazy. This is something that many kids say that they want to do, that they've wanted to do for their whole lives. They just didn't know how to do it, and they have dreams about doing it, but they never have the skills or the knowledge to put it all together. Well, guess what? All the work we did last term, building those prototype games, working through how to make things happen in Unity, it's going to pay off because now you have the skills, now you have the knowledge to build your own video game. Okay, you know how to make the artwork, you know how to tie the programming in, you know how to make everything work in Unity, and so now you're going to get the chance to build your own video game. But before we can do that, we need to create a planning document, a game development document, a GDD. We need to have a development document for the game that you're going to build because if you don't plan it out before you start, you're never going to finish. Okay? This is just like any other big project. You need to plan it out first. So, before you can plan, you need to see what's possible. So, for this project, I'm going to show you a very quick way to prototype your game. I'm going to help you with scaling because some of you are going to come up with some crazy ideas and it's going to get way too complicated way too fast. So I'm going to show you how to very quickly test out your ideas to see if they're possible, and this will help you to plan your game. All right. I like to plan while I'm playing around in Unity, kind of halfway building stuff. So my planning documents always have some form of finished product tied into them. So I'm just going to show you very quickly how to plan your project. So we're going to prototype. Prototyping in game development is basically just creating a workable solution for the game that maybe doesn't look the best, maybe doesn't play exactly how you want it to, but it's essentially playable and it lets you try out certain things that you're experimenting with. So we're going to prototype a game very quickly. So I just created a new project. I just called it 2D side scroller. Now, one very important point: this is going to be a 2D side scrolling game, a 2D side scrolling platformer, but it is going to have a character standing in profile running along a level, right? Jumping and crouching and all that stuff. That is going to be your game, right? So you can't just make the next Call of Duty unless you want to make a 2D side scrolling Call of Duty. It's up to you, but it is going to be a 2D side scrolling game. So the first thing we want to do is we want to import a package. Okay, so packages are really helpful. They're really important because it's just a bunch of code and assets that we can dump into a project very quickly, and then we can use those to prototype our game. Now, you may be thinking, hey, let's use the prototyping package. That's not what we're going to do. We're actually going to grab in 2D, the 2D package, because this is going to give us a bunch of stuff that we need, right? So Robot Boy is a character. He is a character that, here we go, character robotboy.prefab. There is a prefabbed character called Robot Boy that has animations and sprites and everything else on it already. You can control him and play as him pretty much right away. So we want to bring in this whole package here so that we can start creating our game. So it's going to take a while for this to populate in your project. And every time I think it's done, it ends up pulling up another loading screen. But the nice thing about this is that once you kind of build a practice level with Robot Boy and you run around in that practice level with Robot Boy, then you'll get a good idea of what you can actually accomplish on your own. All right, so in our assets folder, we now have this, this new folder called Standard Assets. And we have a couple things in here. We have 2D. So we have animations, animator, materials, physics materials, prefabs, scripts, sprites, what have you, whatnot, right? We also have cross-platform input, which is going to be important if you want to export this to, say, both PC and Xbox One, or PS4 and Xbox One, or the Nintendo Switch, or cell phones, or whatever, right? So you can dig into that a little bit later on your own. That's more cross-platform input stuff. and we have some frame rate. This is a frame rate, kind of a frame rate, uh, what is it, a meter, a frame rate counter that you can put on your screen while you're playing to make sure you're not getting any dips in frame rate. But that's later. That's for testing. What we want to do here first is we want to go into our prefabs folder, right? And what we know about prefabs is that they're prefabricated objects that have all the stuff on them that we want, right? So I'm going to grab a couple of platforms here and just pop them into the level real quick. And notice they already have box colliders around them. They're already set up so that, I can drop a character on there, and nope, there's no problem, right? So I'm going to do that now, actually. I'm going to drop Robot Boy right on there. And look, he already has his colliders. And if we look over here, he already has his animator. He has rigid body. He has scripts attached to him. He has everything, right? So I'm going to play this game real quick. And as you can see, oh, he jumps. He jumps. Does he crouch? How do I make him crouch? I can't remember. Oh, control. Control makes him crouch. Shift or space makes him jump, and I can control him with the arrow keys. So that is our character. All right, I probably want to zoom out the camera a little bit, back out the camera, which I will. Back out the camera a bit, and I'd want to make more in this level. But if we just keep if we keep our robot boy, give me this. No, not that. Give me that. That's what I want. If we keep Robot Boy and we build the level around Robot Boy, then he can be our prototype. He's our stand-in while we're kind of deciding what we want our character to be. Do we want our character to be a knight in shining armor? Or do we want our character to be a spaceman or spacewoman? Do we want our character to be I don't know, a weasel with asthma? Who knows, right? So we have our robot boy here. Now, one thing we can do is very quickly, we can just make the main camera a child of robot boy. So that way when we're playing the game, the camera follows along, but it kind of stays stationary. So wherever we put robot boy, and if we change directions and whatnot, robot boy kind of flips the camera around. So that's not really the best idea. So what we can do is we can go over here to scripts, and we have a camera 2D follow and a camera follow script. So I'm going to add this camera 2D follow, let's say to the main camera, and see if that's what I want. Yes. So I added the 2D camera follow script to the main camera, and I'm going to set the target to be my robot boy object, and I'm going to hit play. And notice that the camera now follows robot boy, and it kind of does that smooth effect that you want. And again, we can play around with the camera follow stuff. Like, it's maybe a little bit slow, so we can change the look ahead return value and the look ahead move threshold and all that stuff. We can play around with that. But already we have essentially a prototype of a 2D platformer. I can go in here and I can grab more of these platforms, and I can create kind of a level, right? I can even take this this crate and I can pop that in there, right? And that can be like the thing that whenever I touch it, it explodes. I don't know. Like, that's the end goal of the level or whatever, right? So I can already just kind of plan out what my game's going to look like just by playing around with my prototype character. Cool. So prototype your game, get some ideas, figure out how you want to build your game. Take a look through, the sprites here, the sprite sheets for Robot Boy. There's a bunch of them here. Take a look at, maybe not the scripts, because we don't really need the scripts here, because hey, you have them now. Now you can use them however you want. Look at the animations, look at the animator. Again, this is all for you to use. It's completely up to you to use it however you want, but this is just to generate some ideas for your game development document. Now, for your game development document, it is a power standard, right? And you must complete the game development document before you move on to start building your game. Okay, so I want to see the game development document as early in the term as possible. So you need to work on it as early in the term as possible. And there's going to be an article and some stuff showing you how to build a GDD. I just wanted to show you the prototyping process so that can help you in planning out your game. But anyway, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you play around and make some cool stuff in Unity. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time.